Okay, so Marco isn't back, but what I want to do with this part is we're going to go through a bunch of use cases, and I'm going to kind of treat this like speed dating. You see something come up and not interested, nobody's using it, we'll go on. If you see something you like, let's talk about it. Like, I want to share the information with you. If you find it interesting or have feedback on it or want to know more about it, we'll have that discussion. And that way, this could be, interesting or not for you, but we'll go through it. So
speed dating works.
I've never done it, but maybe it's like swiping. I don't know, like whatever that. Okay, so this page is the only thing we're going to go, take some time on, because I keep wanting to come back to this, because this is all of these different pieces here. I tried to incorporate into use cases. And so I looked at all the different domains here and picked off items in the domain and why I think they add value to all your customers and to you, right? And so we tried to pick off like file transfer and big data integration. And I don't know all the backgrounds here. I'm not sure how you work with the line of business and how much are line of business driven pieces that would be interesting to them. There's line of businesses that might not even use pieces, but could use pieces of it because you already have workload scheduling. You could take advantage of it. And so we tried to pick off all the different pieces and just talk about them and see how they add value and gauge interest, because part of the discussions today, people were saying we were going quite quickly on some pieces. So, is that good or bad, right? Like, it sounds like ServiceNow is something everybody's using. So having integrations to it or deeper integrations might be more interesting to you. Other pieces you might not be interested in. So I think for anything, always look at the automation hub and see what's out there, because I've been on the project for a year and it's went from over 80 when I joined to over 100. So new integrations are constantly coming up. First one is event rules. People using them. People interested in them. You guys experts in them. You know how you can use all the different pieces of the event rules. There was a really good webinar done last week on event rules through one of the experts. It's on the website if you want to listen to it. He actually does a step-by-step process through the different screens on how to do it.
Where's that? Is that on the website?
It's on the IBM community site. I can provide Angus the link and he can send it out to everyone.
Yeah, we use event rules. We have several cases
around event rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are these sort of custom events? Usually, what kind of events do you
the monitoring files.
So mostly files.
And then it submits a job to SAP.
Okay.
So we get hundreds of files a day, so it monitors files and submits a job to SAP. Works most of the time beautifully. Now and again it'll miss a file. Now and again the events are before that.
Okay. So it's more on the execution of the event rules. Yeah.
And our event rules are completely broken. 3 last week. It turned out to be an SSL. You still got to chase them. They do. Also, some of them don't see to fires. I wouldn't say they're right.
Is everybody comfortable using them? Like, are they? You think you understand everything about, like, when you go to put in events and deploy them and stuff, you feel good. You know what you're doing, and you know what I mean. Like, it's comfortable doing it. It's just.
Depends if you do it by the GUI or you do it by.
Which one is easy?
GUI is because it gives you all the steps, but it must be slower or it's hard to duplicate.
Yeah, sometimes just cut and paste it and then compose it, put it in. If you do it by the GUI, sometimes like the file system one doesn't seem to work whenever I try it. I've looked into it. Why? You use the file system. Again, this is in containers.
Yeah, we're not.
I mean, it shouldn't make a difference, John.
Could I just ask everybody if you could speak up, because the people on the WebEx can't hear the conversation. Thank you. Good. Just speak loudly.
Yep. All right, anything else for event roles? Governance? Are you using the audit capability are people aware of the audit capability?
Now, when you say audit, you mean the audit files that are in there?
Yeah, the details of the audit, so you can see what's changed. Yeah.
Yes, we do make use of those, yes.
Okay. So there is an audit capability so that you can categorize the changes that are being made, like the who and when and what, so that you can see the trail of changes that have gone on. But
we're using this audit, and it causes a major problem because it filled the database on the audit logs. We wasn't aware that it was doing. It came in with a 9.5, 9.56 on my test system, and so we had to change it from both to file. So watch out for that because it does record an awful lot of audit details.
We had the same issue, Nigel.
So scoping what actually got audited?
Well, it just switched something on that we weren't aware of when we went to Fixback 6.
Yeah, scared the hell out of me.
To the database as well, rather than just the flat files.
So, okay, so the theme I'm hearing a few times here is about documentation of whenever a fixed pack comes out, anything that we're changing needs to be documented. So it's clear. So it's a communication. Okay. So, so audit is available for those that aren't using it. That capability is there, and happy to talk more about it offline. ServiceNow we talked about. So we talked about, I guess, calling out to ServiceNow and the capabilities of opening it up. I took the requirement about ServiceNow, providing ServiceNow the ability to feed information from IWA into ServiceNow. Is everybody using ServiceNow? Like, that's what I'm, yeah, so it's this.
This particular one is kind of given food for thought, really. I don't know quite how we use what we've shown earlier, whether it would be a benefit based on what we use now. It's something that we can take away and have a think about, because it may be very useful in the future. It may not be, I'm not sure.
Right.
It's kind of interesting that you've done that. So it's good. Yeah.
Good. Oh. So anyone on the phone, like, shout out, because I can't. Oh, on my screen I can't see if you're raising your hand, so, or anything like that. So just as we're going through these, so Jira. I was really trying to read the room here of who was using Jira and who wasn't. And I didn't get the feeling that people were using Jira. You use it? Okay.
We've just started.
Oh, okay.
Last few months.
Okay.
So it's new to us, but same as the ServiceNow integration, that could be useful. I'm not sure yet because we're still getting used to Jira as a concept, but once we've got there,
it could be.
The two together may well be quite beneficial to what we're trying to do with the product. So. Okay. Or not.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I think when things are relatively new, the first user of it, right, because Jira's requirement to it, like that they get used to it and then start expanding out. So, yeah.
We should use Jira and not ServiceNow. Why would you use that?
So we use Jira for workload planning, and we use ServiceNow for incident problem change, CMDB, everything else.
Can't use ServiceNow, but
you can, but we don't as an organisation with Jira.
Yeah, so I see that with a lot of customers. Jira is kind of the front end of development for things, and then ServiceNow is, to me, the production end of it.
Integration between the two, so you can bounce things from one to the other.
Automation, DevOps, CI/CD. I'm always surprised at this one because it sounds like people aren't checking in their files into any kind of source repository like the WAT files. Does anyone do CI/CD with their job streams? No. just like, I think this is kind of, we started off with source code, right? Putting it in the Git repository and then doing builds, pulling it out of the Git repository and then moving it through the pipeline. To me, this is just the next evolution of putting your job streams into a repository service and then being able to pull them out and move them for the different environments as well. So right now we have the capability to do it. It's not sophisticated, I'll say. It's not like, where we are with source code capability in DevOps, but those are the things we're looking at. So it'll be interesting to see how you all evolve through this and get there or not, just from a repeatability, just the same reasons you do it for source code, you would do it for the job streams, would be the idea. This was the one, the cloud deployment options. I think we've kind of talked about this. No, but I am curious about this because we've talked about Azure. So what are the cloud options that you are looking at? Is there targets that we should be focused more on, on AWS or Azure versus Google versus, so.
I guess it's best to take by company, isn't it? So
it is.
We use OpenShift with Google.
Okay.
We are using Azure as well.
All right. So we've covered them, I guess, through these options. That's fair.
But Bruce, that was going to become a bigger deal in the future. The bank's definitely got a drive to put more onto cloud-based environments. It's a very, very strong message with our new leaders and direction. So I'm particularly interested in what you had to say about the migration.
We're scared more than anything.
Yeah.
This is, I was telling people at the end is we have successful customers as well. Yeah. Many successful customers.
We're a successful customer.
Well, of course. So
it's good to get the reality though that yes, it works, but yes, it's not that straightforward. Yeah. Whether we choose to wait a little while before we do it, perhaps in a version or two. But yeah, it's definitely a focus area for us anyway. Yeah.
That's also a matter of choosing. I mean, going to the cloud doesn't mean necessarily going on Kubernetes. You can also use virtual machines.
Yes.
Makes it easier in alignment with what you do now.
Yeah.
So that's another part of the
option. Yeah. Right. Feels like cheating.
But if you think about legal in general, you can't get more extreme, can you? We went from mainframe to Azure Kubernetes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they've worked through it for the rest of everyone else, right? We talked about the self-service catalog. So this was just important to get out the information to you that, it's fairly easy to, all you have to do is check this box where it says publish as a service and get it into the self-service catalog. And this is also to try to get out to your business users, right? Really making it one-stop shop of like simple stuff like, whatever they had, laptop assignments, like we have that at IBM, right? Trying to procure our laptops, right? And all these different, you start off simple and you can grow, but at least you have the back end for it with workload automation. Might as well try to take advantage of it on the front end with your business users. So any more questions about this? I know Marco covered it. Right. Anomaly detection. I know Marco covered this as well. Maybe I'll just say a few more words about it. So there is this data advisor that's available. What it can do is it can just tell you about anomalous events. What it does is it uses the historical data from your previous job runs to see if you're, tracking to the expectations. And all it does is highlight issues. Doesn't mean that there are problems necessarily. And there's two examples. I think I exploded it here more into a larger case that you can see versus the one that was in the other presentation. But it just tells you really a status of it. I don't know if you delve that deeply into some of these things, but if you want to know what's going on quickly, if something is tracking, you're going to miss an SLA, at least you know about it ahead of time, right? And can decide what action to take. So it can be valuable as an assistance, right? It's not meant to, you know, all of a sudden change things and go off and do stuff, but it's just meant to assist you to find things faster or highlight things faster.
And that could be the starting point for IWA and Kubernetes. Because that only works in containers. So you could have that containerized, talking to existing masters and looking at anomalies, and then at least be able to demonstrate to the business that IWA works within the Kubernetes model.
Is that already in there?
It's the package, the ADA package.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
it's
separate
install. Yeah.
Separate containers, separate content chart.
It's only talking about that.
Orchestrating cloud applications. So maybe this is your baby step of putting the toe in the water, right? Is using a cloud service, right? Calling out from distributed or mainframe and you know, running whatever service you want on the cloud and trying it out. So that capability is there. Anyone using it?
Yeah, we've got quite a few proof of concepts with REST APIs, some of the Google stuff, the Azure data factory, I think we're using that as well. We're using that. So we've got quite a few things in the pipeline.
Okay, great.
Any feedback?
The REST APIs we're getting a grip of now. Some of the other bits where I think some of the documentation is a little poor on some of them, and we're sort of struggling through how we get them to work. But we are getting there slowly.
Okay.
Just
So you try to get whatever is available on the automation hub.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. In some cases, some of these plugins have been just released for the first time. So if you have requirements, also just let us know, because it's normal. In some cases, we kind of imagine what could be customer needs, but then when they start to using them, then it's different. And sometimes they realize they need something more, some more parameters or something else.
I mean, an example is when we first started using the REST API call, it wouldn't work with mutual TLS. And the original answer we got back from IBM a couple of months ago was, well, it won't work. And we said, but all our cloud systems use mutual TLS. So eventually, after we escalated this case, they got it to work with mutual TLS. But that's just one of the examples where we've had to go stamp your feet to get something to work, when I don't know if every other customer is using mutual TLS or it's just to the bank that all the cloud systems use that. We connect to it.
We touched on RPA this morning. Does anybody use bots for any of your capabilities? Doesn't sound like it. We see this around a lot in business automation because a bot can just do a repetitive task for you, right? Like, you know, UIs and things like that. So this might be an opportunity for different lines of businesses to do that, but that capability is there. That's a starting point. So if anyone is starting to look, or you're using bots, or you're using, if you're using some kind of RPA tool, this capability is there. We'd be interested in hearing more if you are starting to use it, how you're using it, and making sure that we're addressing the need, I guess. Observability. I think I've heard Dynatrace. Everybody's Dynatrace?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's APIs that you can use to create a dashboard for, okay. Everybody's aware of that, aware of the different capabilities. Okay. All right. Marco touched on the Z alerting capability a little bit today. So that you know, you have the capability to, when an alert comes, an alert can be, then you can trigger an email out. The chat ops, is anyone using chat ops with the Z alerting capability?
And do you mean the Z ChatOps product, or do
Yes.
you just mean Teams?
No. So underneath the covers, it is using a product, whether it's Teams or Slack or whatever. The Z Chat Ops supports them. So what this does, this is a kind of a really neat feature because we also have it in AIOps, but I don't think anyone's using AIOps here. Is basically the alert will go to your channel, and you can invite as many people to look at it as possible. So the way we use it in AIOps is, you know, an incident happened, right? You have this problem, and you know how you get everybody on a call. You have the database guy, right? You have the storage guy, you have the network guy, right? The application guy. You have like 10 people, and you're all like, you know, not me, right? Or it's me. But it takes a while, right? But if you put it into a chat ops, right? Everybody sees it. And then everybody can go off on their own. And, you know, the network guy goes, you know, I looked into it. It's not my problem. The DBA goes, looks at it, not my problem. And it's all contained in one place, because when you have a bridge and everybody's talking, right? You're hoping some project manager is keeping track of everything. Here it's all documented in one chat, you know, one continuous chat, and information is added to it. Just like we do our support, right? You get your logs or whatever, trying to help all the different teams out to try to sort out what the problem is. So it's a nice feature to have that consolidated information in one place. And so on the Z side, they have support for chat ops, and it supports Teams, Slack. I can't remember all of them, but.
And do you tend to work from a ServiceNow incident, or would you get an incident and then create a Teams chat and then do lots of chat? How do you work?
Yeah, it's where the approach this thing work. It's so the app using on the bus.
Yeah, it goes through a net. It goes through a net call alert. Then, depending on the alert, it will get put as an incident to ServiceNow.
And then if there's a group of you, that incident creates a ticket. Well, you have to create a Teams channel. You all chat, and eventually you update the ticket.
Depending on the severity, yeah, things like that will happen. Yeah.
So the only difference here is, so you could get your incidents as always, but this would go straight to Teams and say, hey, there's 12 of you that care about this stuff. There's also a Teams chat, and you could all chat away there. When you fix it, you could sort of say, update the incident. So it's just, so that's where chat ops, and a lot of people get ServiceNow as the answer, but then they break out and they do lots of Teams work, and then they manually crunch them together. So this is just a quick way of you also seeing, if you all work in Teams 24/7, you get to see it pop up on your desktop, and you can be more efficient, and then you can update the ticket, or you can link.
Right, and onboard someone quickly. Someone comes in, they just read the history, right? So
With that, I do some getting they'll be doing another chat.
yes, potentially.
12, 15 chats a day.
But you could have a Teams where you just ignore it.
Yeah.
And there's a
So
Teams.
why you ignore it? You're in it.
No, but there's an incident process. There's an incident process. But, you know, I'm in here, so I'm ignoring the chat at the minute. So when I get home, I can suddenly scan all my scheduling, you know, things and go, actually, that's still running, and I care about it. You know, there's a whole bunch of ServiceNow stuff. So it's a way of joining two separate processes to work smarter. And, you know, if I like to see pop-ups in Teams, great. Instead of getting an incident and you get it, and then you get your colleague in, and you get your colleague in. If you're a scheduling crowd, it just goes straight to your channel. And if you're busy, one of your, you know, it's just a smarter way of working if Teams is the way you start to do stuff. And I guess at Lloyd, some people adopt Teams for war rooms, and, you know, at L&G, maybe they use Teams or Slack or something. But it's a way of joining ServiceNow and, you know, Teams or Slack for business benefit.
The way always a change manager to decide who's in that team. So hopefully they'll pick the right people, and then when you're in, there's a problem with that. You would be lots of chats.
But only like if the high severity one, like you can start filtering on which ones you want to, you know.
You know what happened? As I added.
But the good news about Teams is you're all added. But what? I'm not on call. I don't care. I ignore it. But I've got half an hour at lunch, eating a sandwich. You go, I can answer that. so it depends how you work as a company. If you know,
you're in. That's what,
yeah, no.
It's like with anything, right?
It's like modern forums of old. So forums were great. You just lob something in there, and somebody around the world answers your problem. You think, well, that was free and quick. And Teams can so do that as well. But in ServiceNow, it gets routed to the person, and then it table tenancies back and forth, and that takes a day. And that's why you get war rooms, because everybody's now in a team. And all of that is slow. Whereas if you have this side benefit of the scheduling team, Z team, and on the application scheduling, and you can choose to listen in and help. But so that's where, we call it chat ops. But effectively for you guys, it would be Teams or Slack or something. And so, sorry.
Yeah, no, this is all good because so hopefully it's something new to introduce, I guess. We talked about the managed file transfer, the capability, because I'm sure you guys shuffle files all over the place all the time. So that's now available just to make sure everybody's aware of all the different capabilities running in parallel and the wildcards and different capabilities.
Does anyone use it?
Pardon?
Does anyone
Do you use file transfer? Our internal one, or?
We tend to use Connect Direct to them.
I was gonna say, yeah, so a third part, yeah. So you have the option, if you wanted to use it, that it's there, and maybe you wanted to take advantage of it.
As long as no one's using Move It.
Why?
I got hacked.
I didn't know.
Hopefully you guys all know about this, the Z and distributed interoperability.
Yeah. Most of these customers are both.
Oh.
So.
Okay. Cool. See, this where you just keep swiping, right? Data pipelines. This is something I see a lot with a lot of customers that I work with. I don't know if you're using it, but it basically, you have all this data coming in from various different sources, right? And you put it into your data lake, right? Totally raw data, and then you start manipulating it and transforming it and pushing it in some standard form to a warehouse. And so we have tools there. The ones I've been working with mostly have been Data Stage, but Snowflake, other. If you remember on the first chart where I had the all the different plugins, there was a section around the ETL pieces. So this is something we're seeing a lot of because people are now moving to AI and looking at the data they have and what they can use to, build, train models with. So the plugins are there for doing data manipulation. So, if you're looking at doing that, take a look at the plugins because there could be something to help you. Oracle eBusiness Suite. That's just an example. Because we support many, the PeopleSoft adapters and all the other adapters. And this is just, it doesn't, I don't know if it's my eyes or the script, it's hard to read a little bit. But, using those adapters, what you can do is talk to the different Oracle applications or, PeopleSoft applications or whatever it is, and be able to use that plugin to take the information and consolidate it into a report. Let's say you have to run a report for your line of business on all the different capabilities. There's 4 different Oracle applications that are running. You can use the adapter to plug in, pull out that information, and then continue as part of your job stream to put the report together. So we have several of these adapters. So if you're doing any of that capability, that's there. And if I'm not mistaken, this might be the last one. It is. How's that for so really? So it was either talking fast or but these are the types of features, like I want to make sure that everybody is, when we add capability, that you're aware of it, and then we'll enhance it. And so even though you might be an expert in event rules, right, we might have added capability into those event rules to handle something new, right, to make that useful. But I am interested because I did see the feedback about the capabilities we're adding may not be the capabilities that you're interested in right now. And just, I guess, when we were talking about it, I was thinking, are you guys using the RFBs system? Do people know what RFBs are? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, we changed their ideas now. Their ideas. Thank you. Yes. Sorry. It's like
ideas.ibm.com.
Ideas, which used to be RFEs, which used to be.
I guess
So there is a central repository where you can add these ideas and vote. Like sometimes they might already exist, so you can vote on them basically to say, this is really important to me too. So as long as you're aware of them, because we do look at them and try to, in every release that we do. Actually, when I go to the management team, we're just filling this out for 10.2.1 is one of the pages is literally what customer capabilities that were requested have we added for that release. So, you know, if you do have an idea that you want to get into the product, like please use the system to get in touch with us and let us know. Because, you know, the more you tell us, it just makes it easier for us to make sure we're meeting your requirements. And
have you put an idea in for the key management?
What's the SSL? No, that's one of the things.
Yeah, I was about to ask, did you work with anybody from the lab about that?
No.
I mean, so also through your project, did you need help from the lab or?
We logged cases, yes.
Okay, okay. But yeah, we need to, I would need your input for, and refer that to Franco or, you know, our architects to explain in the best way what are the problems and what we can do about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the things I see sometimes with ideas is someone will say a capability, and we're guilty of this on IBM side. Like when we talk to you, we talk about capabilities, not the business value or the outcome. And on the ideas, it's helpful for us to understand the business problem side too, because I worked on WebSphere for a long time, and one of the ideas that we had was the ability to change the color of the admin console. And I remember seeing this going, like, really? Like, and it always kind of got pushed off. And then finally someone said to me, I want to color it red. So everyone knows red is production environment, do not touch. And as soon as I heard that, I went, oh, you know, like we should do this right away because it just made such sense. But meanwhile, when I'm looking at it going, you want to change the color? Like, you know, and sometimes when you understand the context of it, it's like, yes, I get it, right? So if you're opening ideas, please like give us some context because it can make all the difference of what gets prioritized. So, yeah. All right, I guess I'll open up to questions or.
Thank you. Integrated into Ansible. How does it integrate into Ansible?
Yeah, like plugin to start and monitor playbooks if you want. You can run, you can trigger them from our playbook
to rerun the job.
Yeah.
A playbook to do anything. But it's the Ansible command line rather than tower.
Yeah.
Or AFP.
Yeah, it's not a tower.
It's not a tower. It's
which one would you want?
Tower. So we have this tower and we run playbooks. Monitoring, so we monitoring this space. We run a playbook to fix anything on Windows line.
So that's the community version rather than the Red Hat paid version.
One of those Ansible tower. It's Red Hat. It's on Red Hat.
But it's a Red Hat subscription. The reason why I ask is the difference between AWX and the Red Hat version is REST API. So with the Red Hat version, you get a REST API, and it's really easy to use REST API jobs against it.
You do rerun jobs.
You can kick off anything in Ansible. So you could have a playbook that's sitting in GitHub that Ansible downloads, runs against an inventory that does, I don't know, adds a package or, you know, adds a bunch of web servers. It's anything that Ansible can do. It's nothing related to AWS. It's purely the integration with.
So look at the jobs we run. Is there any benefit in integrating into Ansible?
Only if Ansible's got a set of playbooks already done that you would have to rebuild it in scheduling. Unlikely, but you might have to put it into the scheduler. But you could just say when you're backing up the database, go to Ansible and get it to do something because there's a playbook, and when you finish that, come back and start the database. You could.
Yeah, when there are interactions with other external tools.
Yeah. Should we put automate in?
What do you use Ansible for today?
Just we have science logic, so anything monitoring, infrastructure monitoring will go to Ansible and run a playbook, and then either escalate the ticket or close the ticket in service now. So it's dynamic automation.
So how do you run the playbook today?
So you get an event that says disk full, go to Ansible, delete 10, and it comes back to the event that says
Right. Okay.
kind of thing.
So that's closed loop.
It's omnibus goes to Ansible and opens a ticket. Ansible does its magic and then resolves the ticket or escalates it.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see how you close that with IWA. You'd have to look at the job to work out whether it's right or not.
Well,
You know, it's unlikely, but you know, your job's saying we've run out of capacity to process in my application. Tell Ansible to stand up another server capacity, come back and finish your job processing. And you know, that would be an Ansible playbook that might provision more capacity. But you know, I'm stretching edge cases here for scheduling. But you know, so for whatever you do in Ansible, if you wanted to link it to scheduling, you could. And the question is, when would we? But you might have one. I mean, that was a very edge case one.
if you've got a job string that runs 10 jobs, one of them needs to do something in Ansible, then you use IWS to control that, and then just kick off the job in Ansible. When it returns and says it's successful, you continue. So you use the workflow logic within IWS of the task instead of writing a script for it. You get Ansible to do it.
Yeah.
I think it could be for just provisioning an environment. Not that I would use it that way, but if I have to provision development environment for my machine every week, or because I bring it down, I could run a job to do that.
It's almost as though scheduling doesn't talk to Ansible in the real world in silos and organizations, so we can't see the use case. But there will be some use cases where it makes perfect sense. You just have to get the use case.
Yeah, the difference between the Ansible scheduler and IWS is Ansible is pretty much based on Chrome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of date, time, run this. There's no dependencies. There's nothing like that. That's what you need IWS for above it.
Right.
So the playbook just sits there, unscheduled within Ansible, and it's IWS that does
Provision my scheduling environment for the weekend, and it goes whoosh, and then the scheduler says you've got one.
Yes.
That's not traditional scheduling, but it could absolutely be scheduling.
Okay. You done?
Before everybody goes, if anybody would like a drink, when you leave IBM, if you turn right, go along, turn right to the London Eye, there's a bar there called All Bar One.
Yeah.
And then we'll be along there in 10 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, all it does